certainly be happy to take questions on either topic. A couple of things. One, we have been opposed to this pay raise from the very beginning as being excessive, but we made a couple of mistakes. One, we gave the legislature the latitude, as you heard me say over a week ago, we gave them the latitude to run their own internal affairs. But the second mistake was thinking that allowing this pay raise to become law would help us advance our reform agenda. It has become clear to me, over the last several days that this is simply incompatible, inconsistent with the new Louisiana I was elected to try to create right here. We've been working so hard to enact the nation's toughest ethics laws. We've cut 6 taxes. We've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in roads and coastal restoration and infrastructure. We've revamped workforce development, trying to create a new Louisiana so our sons and daughters don't have to leave home to pursue their dreams. Well, this excessive pay raise is completely inconsistent with that new Louisiana. It sends the wrong message to our citizens, to businesses looking to invest here. And so what's changed is I've realized, again, after reflection, that it was a mistake to think that allowing this pay raise to become law would actually advance our reform agenda. The reality is allowing this pay raise to become law is exactly contradictory to the new Louisiana we're working so hard to create. And by the way, not only was I elected to create that new Louisiana, so were dozens of new legislators in the chambers downstairs also elected to create that new Louisiana. So fundamentally, I realized that this pay raise, this excessive pay raise, is simply inconsistent with the new Louisiana we were trying to advance. It was a mistake to think that allowing it to become law would help advance our reforms. It's actually antithetical to those reforms. Again, for me, we've opposed this pay raise from the very beginning as excessive. We warned the legislators that the public would not abide by it, that they can't double their own pay. The average taxpayer is not seeing their pay double. They don't get to raise their own pay. The revelation for me, the turning point for me was realizing how inconsistent this pay raise is with the reforms we're trying to advance. And again, we were always against the pay raise, but we had said we would allow them to conduct their own affairs. We were going to allow this to become law. We weren't going to veto it because we were worried it would cause them to slow down our reforms. The reality is allowing this pay raise to become law would do more to jeopardize, undermine, contradict our reforms than anything else. It became clear to me that we had to veto this pay raise. Oh, I think, look, it was clear. We warned the legislature from the beginning that the people would not abide by this. This was a mistake. This was excessive. It was clear to anybody that watched this happen that the people would be angry at an elected body trying to double their own pay and to do it themselves. And by the way, I think we got it right the first time. I don't think any pay raise should go into effect until after the next election cycle. I think that's the right policy. We said it originally. Again, I think we got it right the first time. Three things. Obviously, I don't know. Only time will tell. But secondly, I would say to the legislature, we have worked well and hard together. We enacted the nation's toughest ethics laws, repealed 6 taxes. We've also invested hundreds of millions of dollars in our roads and coast. We made tremendous reforms, revamping workforce development. We happen to disagree on this one very important issue. And I would say to the legislature that we have both made mistakes. I made a mistake in giving the legislature the latitude. I made a mistake in telling them that I would stay out of this, thinking that would help to advance our reforms. They made a mistake in pursuing this excessive pay raise, doubling their own pay. My message would be, let's start over, let's move forward. My third point, though, is that the people of Louisiana are demanding that we work together. They're demanding that we work together to move our state forward. And so certainly time will tell. But I think that if they look back and see what we accomplished when we worked together, I hope they would look at that as a guide for the future. I'm sorry. Well, I think, again, time will tell. But again, my message to the legislature will be that we were all elected with a mandate from people. Many of you have covered me now for several months. You heard me even before the election talk about the fact that this is an historic time for our state. And I told you this was our best chance in a lifetime to make changes, not just because of the oil and gas economy, not because of the hurricane recovery, but because the people of Louisiana are demanding once-in-a-generational change. And you heard me before say my hope for Louisiana is not because of our elected officials, it's because of the people and the voters. They've raised their expectations, raised their hopes. I think the people of Louisiana are going to demand that we work together. Only time's going to tell what that relationship will be like. My request to the legislature, certainly they've got a right to be angry with me, and I hope they take their anger out at me, not the people of Louisiana. I'm sorry, let him finish and we'll come back. Again, at this point, I think it's only time's going to tell what's going to happen. I don't want to predict what they might do. This is them will be that the voters of Louisiana demanded change. They want us to work together. I think that they made a mistake in passing the successive pay raise. I made a mistake in telling them that we were going to stay out of it. Let's move beyond that. Welcome back.
Among the backlash you've had is the possibility of a recall effort. You've also received countless letters, among them a very personal and pointed letter from Dale Brown, which I'm sure you've read. I'm assuming you've read that letter. It expressed extreme disappointment in the job that you've done so far, saying that you've not followed through in your campaign promises. Can you talk about that letter you received?
I've actually not seen the letter from Coach Brown, but I will say that I'm certainly very proud of what we have accomplished. And I think many of you have written about the fact that we had a very successful ethics session. We moved from 43rd to first best in the country for this, according to the Center for Public Integrity. Came back in a second session and did exactly what we said we were going to do. Got rid of 5 taxes. We sped up the elimination of taxes on debt, equipment, got rid of the tax on utilities. We also did what we said we were going to do, invested hundreds of millions of dollars in transportation revenues into roads, coastal restoration, and other infrastructure. And then finally came into this session, did what we said we were going to do, revamped our workforce training programs so that we truly are meeting the needs of our people and the employers where we have tens of thousands of vacant jobs. I think we've had, when you look at the last 5.5 months, I think it's been a very successful start. The excessive pay raise threatened to jeopardize the momentum we've got, the reforms that we're making. That's why it's so important for me today to veto this bill. And like I said, I think we got it right the first time. I don't think any pay raises should go into effect until after the next election so that voters have a right, have the ability to vote at the ballot box and have their voices heard about whether this is reasonable or not. Lanning? All right, one last one then, Lanning. Well, Andre, I think we've answered that. I think I've told you that we have done what we said we were going to do, and that's why we've enacted the nation's toughest ethics laws. We've eliminated 6 taxes, dedicated money to the roads, the coastal restoration efforts, revamped workforce development, and today we're vetoing this pay raise inconsistent with what we told the people of Louisiana we would do. It's the right thing to do, and I'm glad we're here today to get Louisiana back on track towards those reforms. Lanny? I have. I want to close with a couple of final thoughts. I want to, first of all, say I know that some legislators, I've said this before, but I want to reiterate this. I know some legislators are going to be upset that I broke my word to them to stay out of their business. I can't say that I blame them for that, quite honestly. But I ask them again to direct their anger at me, not on the people of Louisiana. Secondly, and a message to the people of Louisiana, to the citizens who've become so vocal on this issue and so involved in this process, I say thank you, and I say stay involved. There's a lot more work to do. Don't tune out. Don't go back. Don't stop paying attention to the political process now. This government belongs to you. It is your business. I'm going to need your help to move our state forward. I made it clear that my optimism in the future of Louisiana is not because of the results of the election, but because of the great people of this state. I thank them for their voice. I thank them for their activism. I encourage them to help me build a new Louisiana so our sons and daughters no longer have to leave home to pursue their dreams. Thank you all very much.